Welcome to the bold analysis. The Obasanjo-led commission that is supposed to spearhead the mediation talks has been riddled by all manner of political twists and spins. And the list from Kenya Kwanzaa really shows that the list that they have unveiled to face off with the Azimio team is a very clear indication that nothing will come out of it. Kenya Kwanzaa has unveiled list of 5 members going to mediation talks, and this include Kimani Ichung'wah, one of the well-known hardliner when everyone talks about mediation, and a very well-known hardliner against any sort of an agreement between Raila and Ruto. Then they've also gone to the UDA party and picked 2 officials of the party. Cecily Mbarire, the Embu governor, who is also the chairperson of UDA party, is there. Apart from the gender aspect, the gender representation, she represents the party UDA and also represents Mount Kenya. If that representation is there, but my position is still clear on this. Then Hassan Omar has been picked. Hassan Omar is the vice chair. He has a position, I don't know whether he's the vice chair, but he has a position in the UDA party. And he's the Ayala member of parliament. And Wambilianga is Bungoma women rep. I do believe it's from the Ford Kenya. And then there is Aaron Cheriot. Your quick assessment of this team is that only Wambilianga comes from Ford Kenya, but ANC, no one. Initially, there was a plan that Musalia Mudavadi was going to lead this team, and probably that is why Azimio la Umoja also settled on Kalonzo Musyoka. I'll not be shocked to see Kalonzo Musyoka pulling out of that team so that his place is taken by someone else. It is most likely possible. We're really waiting. You know, Kalonzo is a man of stature. I don't think he'll really take it. Now, I can promise Obasanjo, and I'm not a prophet of doom, that he's been given a bunch of hardliners. When you see Aaron Cheriot, a very close confidant of William Ruto, and you see Kimani Ichung'wah, a close confidant of Rigathi Gachagua, and you see Cecily Mbarire, a close confidant of Rigathi Gachagua, because it's actually known that the person who picked Mbarire to lead the UDA party is Rigathi. Then you have Omar, and the rest, you've been given a bunch of hardliners. People who are willing and will be out there to play politics. Last minute change. Mudavadi was on his way there and he was dropped. I also understand Malala was also supposed to back up this team, but was dropped. Now, to Raila Odinga, and I want to be very categorical in this. Raila Amolo Odinga and the Azimio Brigade. The mediation talks is just spiraling around the roundabout. You will not take any exit from it. It's just you've gotten into a roundabout and you're not moving. The reason why you're not moving is because there is no direction out of it. And I wish they listen to this podcast because I want to speak to Azimio straight on this matter. Just like the first one, this one is going nowhere. Take that to bank. This one is going nowhere. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our video. Thank you very much for those who are supporting us from every part of the globe and every part of this country. We don't take it for granted. Ladies and gentlemen, there is that which is here. I have read the statement from Kenya Kwanzaa, and when they were unveiling the list, they've mentioned non-violence in political discourse and no cost of living. But they've listed the other aspects. I think I have the list here. I want to speak from a point of knowledge. They've listed reconstitution of IBC, implementation of a 2/3 gender rule, entrenchment of Constituency Development Fund, establishment and entrenchment of the office of the Leader of Opposition, and embedment of the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. Remember, this was a creation of the president, and someone can go to court. Salim Davadi's post was creation of the president. Someone can go to court to challenge it. Now, this is my point. If the mediation talks cannot solve two questions, the cost of living and our unending political contest under winner takes all that Uhuru Kenyatta strongly lobbied for during his handshake with Raila Odinga, then we are not heading anywhere. To the Azimio team, having looked at the list and the approach that Kenya Kwanzaa is giving, Kenya Kwanzaa wants to trade with the creation of the opposition leader, office of the opposition leader, with IBC and others. That is what many, and that is a trap that is there for other Azimio leaders. Now, what is happening here? If you look at that list that has been given, the creation of the office of opposition leader will then be taken from there and taken to parliament. In fact, it is just copy-pasting of William Ruto's letter to the National Assembly, speakers of the two houses, proposing the creation of the two offices. So it's going to be traded, and I can tell you, if Azimio will fall into the trap of Kenya Kwanzaa taking the mantle of creating that opposition, that office, and then the issues of reconstitution and 2/3 gender rule and CDF, I can tell you, the creation of that office is supposed to support our democracy to some extent, and also it's partly to solve inclusivity for some reasons. But this is the catch. Kenya Kwanzaa will walk out of that mediation talk and say that they've given Raila Odinga opposition office, and with them they only went to that mediation table for entrenchment of CDF and the 2/3 gender rule, which is in the interest of Kenyans. What am I saying? Azimio must find themselves in a situation where anything tangible from the mediation talks do not veer off from the interest of the sovereign. The reason why what birthed the mediation talks was a protest where people lost lives, not lost lives, people were killed and maimed and injured simply because of the question of the cost of living. Now, if the cost of living is not on table, then Kenya Kwanzaa is going to trade political gimmicks with Azimio. I know that there are leaders that are eyeing that opposition leader office. And when it will be dangled on their way in exchange of the others. And the biggest risk is it being dangled with IBC. So this, they must take it. Azimio must make sure they don't create excitement and a leaning team because of that creation of the leader of opposition. If you look at all that Kenya Kwanzaa has listed, that is the only one that seems to be veering off from their own interest. Number two, the talks will be used to put a closure to political aggression, especially on the cost of living, and clearly deflate Azimio la Umoja. There is something that should not be lost, and someone close to Raila should whisper this to him. The Azimio coalition, as it stands, is supposed to put government on check. Now, reconciliation and any sort of agreement that will be arrived at in that mediation should not be used to stifle political aggression or criticism of the government. This is what I mean. They should not allow Kenya Kwanzaa to say we have awarded. So that what comes out of it is that from that mediation, what has been discussed there should not be put to a closure, that Azimio cannot complain about the cost of living simply because someone says we concluded it there. That commission do not have a final say. That Azimio cannot complain about the other aspects simply because the creation of that office, the creation of the mediation talks is supposed to put Azimio's political roadmap to a closure. It should not. In fact, what they should do is that if there is going to be a creation of any office, or there is going to be a political discourse that will alter the basic structure, governance structure now, then the next phase is political mobilization. If you're going to surround yourself around Kalonzo, Kalonzo should come out of those talks as the presidential candidate 2027. And the political mobilization kicks off immediately. With that, we'll make a way. Number 3, and this is important, it will be honorable for before Kenyans and before Azimio supporters if the talks collapse because Kenya Kwanzaa has declined to address the cost of living, than if the talks are going to collapse on other twists and spins that as Kenya Kwanzaa might bring their way. This is what I mean. If Kenya Kwanzaa can't talk the cost of living, then you better don't make that mediation. Better the mediation talks ends there, nothing is done, then Azimio go back to drawing board and continue criticizing government. Than going to table, then dangling some very funny takeaways, like the creation of the opposition, the 2,000 danger rule and others, then you don't address the cost of living and you come up that we've had some mediation talk. They should then, Kenyans should then know that there is no mediation talks that has happened. So that government should not join because they're already in a mess. They should not allow Kenya, they should not allow, Raila should not allow Azimio to sanitize them. If they can't address the cost of living, then the talks should collapse there. Because either way, it can collapse. Hapo mbele. That's my take.